Second episode begins in Ohio, 1998. It's a sweet 16th birthday for Clayton Jessup, but as the camera pans around, we see that his family are all at the table, but they're all dead. Clayton cuts himself some cake, and this little flashback cuts us forward to see him in the pit, seconds before he escapes. Clayton is certainly psychotic, and as Bex and the others end up on the case, we get a little bit of background surrounding this guy. He spent 3 days playing dress-up with his family after poisoning them with carbon monoxide. It's certainly not the first time he's done this either, and he likens these corpses to dolls that he can play with. To make matters worse, it would appear that around 25% of the pit population have escaped, but the president is now asking questions about the blast, which, as we learned in the previous episode, may have been done intentionally. When Bex returns to the hangar, things are very different this time around. There's a whole task force working on recovering these inmates, with the warden, Oliver Odell, overseeing everything. They've set their sights on Jessup, whom they've got a ping on in Nebraska after stealing a car. He's on the hunt for another family to terrorize, and thankfully, Bex, Jacob, and Shane touch down in Nebraska soon after. They quickly find the next victim Jessup is after. Unfortunately, they're too late as an old lady, Irene McFadden, is kidnapped. She does have a daughter, Lucy, but she's off at college. The task force head out on the hunt for Irene, whom they manage to track via her phone and earbuds. Unfortunately, this only leads them to Lucy, who ends up with her mom's earbuds. Unfortunately, they've followed the wrong person and let Clayton slip through their fingers. While in the pit, the scientists were trying to look for a cure for Jessup, but after an angry outburst, several years after being incarcerated, he crushed the scientist's spine. This was enough for none of the team to want to go near him again. Instead, they continued to keep him docile by letting the guy watch old educational videos on repeat constantly, which was his only connection to the outside world. Although they don't have footage of the educational tapes, they have recorded Jessup's reaction. Good thing the guy wears glasses. Through his reflection, they learn the tapes were created at the University of Wyoming. They post their videos online, and checking one in particular, which Jessup appears to have been miming, they realize that he's going after the actors from these videos. He's already grabbed another man by the name of Walter, which leaves a single individual remaining, Michael Brennan. Unfortunately, Jessup gets to Michael first, and the trio need a slightly different tactic. This stems from speaking to Dr. Lansing, the scientist who had his back broken by Jessup. On the road, Shane and Bex talk. Bex has a tough past involving a man named Eli Johnson. He's the psychopath she busted as a teen, the serial killer who was her best friend Naomi's father. However, the part she omitted is that she actually ran away and left her friend in peril, rather than standing by her friend's side, and it's something that's haunted her ever since. It also explains why Bex is so tenacious in trying to find these different escaped inmates. For now, Shane and Bex show to see Dr. Lansing at his place, while Jacob does some research back at the pit. Apparently, Dr. Lansing was actually close to rehabilitating the guy. The treatments appeared to be working, but then something went horribly wrong. Clayton stepped up to hug Lansing one day, but one of the guards misinterpreted it and struck Jessup. Clayton Jessup then flew off the handle and broke Lansing's spine, explaining how everything went down. Lansing actually wanted to go back to work again, but the powers that be refused to let that happen. While Bex is talking to him about the therapy, Lansing explains he made the videos himself with the actors down in the basement, and this is precisely where Jessup is. Unfortunately, Shane walks right into a trap and ends up with a gun to the back of his head. Jessup is lying in wait. Lansing wants Bex to leave, imploring her to vacate the place so he can work with Clayton Jessup. She refuses, naturally, and a standoff does ensue. Bex manages to use his own psyche against him to keep Clayton subdued, just long enough for Jacob to arrive with backup and arrest him. Jacob chews out Bex in private for running off alone, but does reveal that it wasn't a gas leak that caused the pit's explosion. It was a C4 blast. Furthermore, Odell confirms that Eli Johnson is still alive, and actually at the pit in custody. While the world thinks Bex is a hero, when she heads in to see the inmate, she struggles to compose herself. Johnson uses her own guilt and insecurities against her, pointing out that she brought Naomi down to the basement with her to look through the belongings. In fact, Odell knew all of this, and the police would have disqualified her if they knew the truth. He covered for her, but there's more to it than that. Jacob makes some calls and learns that 10 minutes before the breach, there was a massive leak of 1,000 terabytes of data taken from the server. Could Odell have been behind this?